Huh.
And welcome to the Harmony Hut.
Oh my goodness. Look
Kind of like
at
a
this.
glorified guitar center in here.
This is insane.
Well, I used to have all my guitars in storage. And I have a lot of guitars, not really because I collect them so much, but because people give them to me. And I also work with Ibanez for like 38 years now. So we're always kind of coming up with prototypes and whatnot. So I had them all in storage, and whenever I needed a guitar, I'd have to look to see what I had and then send somebody to go get it. So I thought one day I am going to build a room and put all my guitars in it. And that day came.
And so how many do you think you have in here?
Oh, geez, I don't know. Maybe a couple of hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little guitar, isn't it?
It's just a little guitar.
Like the Van Halen little guitar.
Sort of. I think his is more like a Les Paul.
Okay.
But that's sort of like a little Strat of sorts. And I had to work on it, but you'd be surprised what a big sound this little guitar has when it's in tune.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
And okay, so
and this I actually use because I compose, and I tune it to a violin, and then I
you play it like
use it to write for violin because it's a little different than guitar.
Okay, so how many strings is that for?
4.
Okay. God, that's interesting, isn't it?
This was the one that came in the early 90s when we introduced the white.
Yeah.
And I had a whole bunch to choose from, and we were experimenting with pickups. So I named the guitars after Harley-Davidson engines.
Of course, because you're a big bike fan, yeah.
Bike fan. So like, it had the flat head, the pan head, So I named this one Evo after the Evolution engine. And it was just one of those emotional connections you have with an instrument that I made it my main instrument. And it pretty much been the girlfriend.
The girlfriend, the mistress. Can I have a little hold? Yes. So this is the monkey grip.
That's the monkey grip.
Yeah. Makes sense. And especially when, you watch you on stage and how, if you, like, from those early days before you had the monkey grip, how you were throwing that guitar around. Like, it makes sense why you would want that.
Well, oddly enough, that's the reason why I put it in.
Yeah. So that was that.
The ham is cooking,
And so the 7-string, because that's an iconic one as well, just because.
This one here.
That's the 7-string. Okay, was that the first one?
This was one, it's one of my last 7 strings from the Whitesnake period.
So that one you played on the white? No.
Oh, yeah. I was playing the gem, and I had a conversation with Ibanez, because I was considering, what would it be like to have a 7th string?
Yeah.
A low string, you tune it down, you get that heavy kind of thing. So I told him, make me a gem with 7 strings. And that's what I got. And I started using it. And it sort of, it served its purpose. It gave the Whitesnake record a totally different kind of atmosphere.
Completely. You completely changed it. And of course, a whole new genre, new metal as well.
Yeah, it kind of birthed the whole sub-genre. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Because all the younger guys started playing it.
Yeah, like Korn and stuff all playing it.
Fear Factory and all those guys.
And this, I recognize this one. This is one of your first
That's my first real guitar. I got my first guitar. It was a Tesco Del Rey, $5.
Love it.
I was 12.
Yeah.
And it was my everything.
Yeah.
Actually, you hear stories about how young guitar players say, well, I slept with my guitar.
Yeah.
Every night. And eventually I got some sort of other guitars. I got a Univox Les Paul. But finally, I always wanted a real Strat. I could never afford it. And one day I went up into my room and my mom had laced I think it was like $145 for a Strat or $120. And she had the money laced in the strings. I'm like, so I went and I bought that at Matthews Music on Long Island. And I use it all through high school, through college, through Zappa, and recorded a lot of my first solo record, Flexible, with it.
It's so great that you kept it. Like you didn't give it away and...
No, that was one that didn't get away. One of the few vintage guitars I have, and it was the first one I bought. The ones that I keep out here have significance for me. This was given to me by my dear friend Joe Satriani. He used it on tour.
Your guitar teacher.
My guitar teacher.
Yeah.
And then he blow-torched it, and then he made this wonderful little dedication.
So when did he give you this then?
Oh my gosh, what year? It was on my birthday probably 5, 6 years ago.
Oh, I love it.
And this one is has a little interesting story behind it. My friend Joe DeSpagni, who was my best friend growing up.
He helped you develop the guitars, didn't he?
Well, he made these.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a luthier, and he'd make these outrageous guitars. That's the flame guitar, the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And this is the Swiss cheese guitar. Tasty, too. And I had this in rehearsals with Dave Roth. And this, along with four of my other guitars, got stolen.
Oh, no.
And then 30 years later, which was just this year, somebody contacted us and they found it.
So what happened? So they...
Well, there was a kid that lived in Tijuana in Mexico, and he was, I think he's 21, and he was up in his parents' attic, and he found this guitar. In a case, untouched. It's got the same strings. Well, no, I think we changed the strings. But he found it, and he's looking at it. He's, how did this get here? What is it? And then he discovered, and he contacted us. So it must have been stolen and then sold at a swap meet or something, and it made its way to Mexico and sat in somebody's attic for 30 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And now it's back.
Wow.
And
God, I could just lose myself in here for hours.
Yeah. This is a great 7-string that I've used quite a bit. It's called Bruno. And this was a swirl guitar that I took a blowtorch to and scraped.
Well, how do you come up with these designs?
The swirl pattern was something that existed.
Yeah.
And that was something that my friend Joe DeSpagni sort of evolved. And then I just thought, I love the way wood looks when you put a blowtorch on it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let's see what happens, you know? And I did that. So much of the creativity is given by Ibanez, because they're a great company. They have great, very creative luthiers. So they're very responsible for a lot of this. And some of the guitars I hand paint. So this is like one that I...
Oh, this is... You hand painted this yourself? Oh, that's so pretty. Again, very you, with the whole nature and...
It's glorified doodling.
How did you get that on there?
Well, I asked them to send me bodies without the finish.
Yeah, and then you paint.
So then I paint on them, and then they put the finish on it. It's difficult because I like to use sparkles and things like that, so that it is a little precarious when they're shooting it. They gotta do a very careful job with it.
Got a few Grammys up there. So what was the first one? The first one was for... It was for the was it for Zappa sofa?
Yes, I think it was Zappa sofa was the first one.
This is your life, isn't it? You've got your Grammys, you've got the guitars where you've made all this amazing music. What do you think? Like,
well, I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
Because I have a space that I can decorate and make comfortable. You know, we like to allow our personalities to exfoliate into the environment, so to speak. And this is so much me. I mean, and my wife too, because we, you know, we went downtown, we picked all the fabrics, and I knew the kind of wood that we wanted to use, and it's very acoustically sound, you know. And we've got I've got mics in the ceiling. The room, once you start, you know, playing it really breathes nicely.
Does it?
Yeah, you put a lot of compression on it, and it sounds fantastic.
And this is your third studio, isn't it? That's the thing. You're a bit of a pro. Like, people talk about you as a guitar player, but actually you're an incredible producer. You're a bit Jimmy Page in that sense.
Well, I've always been fascinated with the recording process and engineering and sort of even the audio science behind sounds and music and frequencies and equalization and how to affect signals. And, you know, it's like the stereo spectrum is like your backyard. You know, it's like landscape. It's got up and it's got down and it's got width. And it's so, it's creative and it's a craft to be able to place instruments with their sound within the stereo spectrum to create the depth of a song.
Yeah.
And that Jimmy Page was a master at that. If you listen to like those Led Zeppelin records, he was just genius at capturing atmospheres.
The drums. I mean, John Bonham wouldn't have sounded as big as he did if it hadn't have been the way he mic'd all those drums.
Yeah. And he always created space so that his guitars, and if you listen, the way they're placed, the way they're layered, it's miraculous, you know? So that was always interesting to me. So besides playing and composing, I knew that I wanted to be an engineer. So I've always produced and engineered all my records. I mix them, I produce them. The only thing I don't do is master them.
Yeah, that's a
I
different
leave
kettle
that
of
to,
fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leave that
I
to
don't-
Bernie Grumman
Yeah, I don't
himself.
blame you. What is this mystical creature?
This is the Hydra. Dun, 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 dun. I do this every night.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Why did you call it the Hydra then?
Well,
is it anything to do with the whole Greek
absolutely.
mythology?
I'll tell you the whole story. What happened was I wanted to create an instrument that could carry an entire piece of music. So I needed a bass and 7-string that's tuned down to drop A, and the 12-string, and it's got harp strings. But it has all sorts of accoutrements. It has a guitar synthesizer. It has sample and hold. It has piezo's and sustainers, and it has a seducer. A seducer. When you touch the seducer, it goes. And then, of course, you need a climax regulator when you touch the seducer. And it took 2 years for the inspiration to come, and it came in the form of a Mad Max movie. You know that scene where they're going through the desert?
Yeah.
And they're going through the desert and all of it. But that guy's, he's got the crazy guitar and he's blowing flames and everything. I said, there it is.
There it is. That's my guitar.
And originally, the Hydra had these blowers on it that blew smoke and stuff.
Stop it. That's so
Come
funny.
on, man. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Look at you. That's a good look for her, don't you think?
Does it work? Do I pull off Mad Max?
Yeah, well, you better pull off your E minor 9 to your F chord first.
Oh. Sorry, that's a bit of a dud note.
Go for it.
Yeah, I can't play anything on here. What was all this that you were doing?
Look at her. She's an expert.
This isn't set. I've never played a 12-string.
You get to play a 12-string, a 7-string, and a bass at the same time.
Yeah.
You got to flip the harp notes.
What's there? Oh, yeah. Where are they? They're there.
And this is the seducer right there.
How do I seduce? Oh, that.
Push that button.
Already? Get ready to be seduced.
And then this is the dragonizer.
Okay. Where's that? Yeah.
Hit that. Hey, you gotta have fun in my business. Right?
Oh, my goodness. Good. Well, Steve, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I've had the best time.
Oh, same here.
You are
Very
just
nice.
the most amazing. Check out the full interview and a load more on AXS TV.